On November 17, 2024, paramedics responded to a 119 emergency call from a quiet apartment in Pwangi Province. The caller was a husband who said his wife was conscious but slowly fading. His voice sounded calm, too calm. When the paramedics entered the apartment, something felt wrong immediately. A powerful, unbearable smell filled the space, strong enough to make even trained responders hesitate. It was clear this was not a sudden medical emergency. They asked where the woman was. The husband pointed toward a recliner in the bedroom. From a distance, it looked empty. Only when they stepped closer did they realize someone was there, completely covered by a dark, stained blanket. Beneath it was a 37-year-old woman, barely alive, her breathing shallow, her body weak and unresponsive. A phone beside her played an old TV show on repeat. She stared at the screen without reacting. One paramedic later said this scene would stay with him forever. Something terrible had been happening here, long before that call was made. During transport to the hospital, the woman went into cardiac arrest. Despite emergency treatment, she passed away the next morning. Doctors determined she had died from sepsis. Her body had lost 30 kilograms, and her bed sores had reached the most severe stage. But the medical report revealed something even more disturbing: multiple rib fractures and wounds inconsistent with normal care. Evidence suggested she had been neglected for at least 3 months. Experts also suspected physical assault, including a possible stab wound to her shoulder. Investigators realized her suffering hadn't been sudden, it had been prolonged, hidden behind the walls of her own home. Her husband's reaction baffled authorities. He claimed he had no idea of her condition, yet the house had been filled with an unbearable stench and her body clearly deteriorating. Paramedics insisted the neglect could not have gone unnoticed. It was clear, this was not just illness or accident. Something sinister had been occurring while the world outside assumed everything was normal. Usana had once been lively, independent, and outgoing. Friends and family remembered her as kind, cheerful, and strong-willed. But after moving in with her husband, Kim Dong-gun, her life slowly changed. She left her hometown, her friends, and her job behind, becoming isolated in an unfamiliar city. Her husband claimed she developed depression and panic attacks, but there were no medical records to confirm this. Messages with friends showed she seemed normal. Over time, her dependence on him grew. Criminal psychologists later suggested that he may have manipulated her psychologically, cutting her off from family and friends, creating a dynamic where she believed he was the only one who could help her. While neighbors saw a normal household, inside, Usana's world shrank to the walls of her apartment. She was left alone for months, her needs neglected, her suffering unseen. What had once been a balanced relationship had shifted into one of dominance and control, setting the stage for tragedy. Evidence later revealed the horrifying extent of Usana's suffering. For months, she was physically unable to move, confined to a recliner while her body deteriorated. Necrosis, bed sores, and injuries advanced unchecked. Maggots had begun to infest her wounds. Even simple tasks, like calling for help, were impossible. Her husband, meanwhile, maintained an image of the caring, devoted spouse. He regularly sent messages to her family, describing her as eating well and being taken care of. Neighbors reported him taking the dogs to the vet and grooming appointments, showing care for pets while ignoring his wife's critical condition. Investigators noted abnormal water and electricity usage in the apartment, suggesting attempts to mask the stench and signs of decay. This deliberate effort to hide what was happening showed awareness and control. What was meant to be a home, a place of safety, had become a prison. Usana's cries for help went unheard, trapped behind layers of neglect and calculated deceit. After Usana's death, investigators found letters she had written to her husband. In them, she apologized repeatedly, expressing fear and pleading for care. One letter begged for medicine and lip balm, small comforts that highlighted how helpless she had become. Her words revealed a woman trapped, not by illness, but by someone she trusted. Criminal profilers suggested her husband may have fabricated her panic disorder and depression to isolate her. In reality, she was physically restrained and dependent, unable to reach for help. Her rib fractures and recent injuries indicated assault, and evidence showed she had been left without medical attention for months. While authorities pieced together the timeline, her husband maintained an image of concern, updating family and friends about her well-being. Outside appearances masked a grim truth: deliberate neglect and possible sadistic abuse had led to Usana's slow, painful death. The contrast between her suffering and his deception painted a chilling picture of control, manipulation, and cruelty. Investigators uncovered disturbing patterns that suggested deliberate planning. During the months Usana suffered, her husband claimed to care for her, yet she received no medical attention. Records showed her last hospital visit had been 5 months prior. In contrast, receipts proved he regularly attended to the dogs, maintained the apartment, and sent updates to her family, creating a false sense of security. The apartment's utilities told another story. Water usage skyrocketed, electricity ran continuously, likely to mask odors of decay. Paramedics testified that he had admitted her condition had worsened over 3 months, contradicting his claims of ignorance. Psychologists concluded that Usana was physically and psychologically trapped, completely dependent, and isolated. Her inability to move, combined with calculated deception, made her pleas invisible to the outside world. It was clear, her husband's actions, or deliberate inaction, directly contributed to her suffering and eventual death. On December 15, 2024, military prosecutors indicted Kim Dong-gun on murder charges. The primary allegation: murder by omission. If that didn't hold, he faced abandonment resulting in death. Experts noted that failing to seek medical care for a dying spouse could itself be criminally punishable. During the trial, evidence painted a grim picture. Rib fractures, wounds, necrosis, and maggot infestation proved prolonged neglect. Paramedics' testimonies confirmed that he knew of her condition for months. Letters from Usana revealed her helplessness and pleas for care. Yet outside appearances, social messages, and his attention to the dogs masked the truth. Psychologists described a combination of psychological control, isolation, and possible sadistic behavior. While the motive remained unclear, it was evident that Usana's suffering was deliberate. The family sought answers and justice, hoping the court would acknowledge the cruelty she endured. Usana's story remains a chilling reminder of hidden abuse behind closed doors.